Tonight on the VinceDao show, responding to my liberal haters for the most part. Also, a Republican city councilman now identifies as an Indian woman of color. We'll show you the details, and a little bit of a personal conversation. Should right-wing men specifically be wasting their time, or a lot of their time, on video games? We'll have a little discussion about that. That's all tonight on the VinceDao show. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome to the VinceDao show. I am your host, VinceDao. Hope you galaxy brainers had a great weekend. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We normally do this show live every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're new to the channel, or this is your first time in the live stream, feel free to join us again every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time for new episodes of the VinceDao show. We are currently at 21 likes. Chat, what are we doing? Let's get those numbers up. Let's get to 50 likes. And if you want to support the show, or you have a question or comment that you want read and answered, feel free to send in a super chat. I will be checking the super chats regularly throughout the night in between each segment. And as usual, we have our Q&A portion at the end of the show where we interact for a few minutes, answer your questions, respond to your comments. So again, if you want to support, consider sending a super chat either here on YouTube or at the pinned link in the live chat. That is the link to my Streamlabs where we actually keep more of the super chat revenue. But either way you want to donate is all greatly appreciated. God bless you in advance. Anyways, very short introduction. I don't have a lot of housekeeping to say other than I have 2 exams tomorrow, so wish me luck on that. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's check the time. New watch, by the way. I got a new watch. I got a new watch for my birthday. People said, Vince, your watch looks cool, but it's cheap. It's a cheap watch, okay? You're 25% Italian American. You can't be rolling around with a cheap gold watch. I was like, okay, so got a gift, all right? Versace. What you know about Versace? They call me Vinny Versace. It's so true. So true. Anyways, it is the hour of Dao. Let the Vinsanity commence. Let's get into the show tonight. Well, let's get right into the topic and what most of you in the live chat seem to be here for, which is the battle back and forth responding to the hate comments from liberals. So let's just get right into this chat. Over the weekend, I put out a question for the libs that I knew would draw some anger. I knew it might draw some actual conversation, and the intent of it was always to kind of let it happen, put it out there, let the response happen, give it a day, and then we were going to respond to those comments on tonight's episode of the show. That was always the plan, so let's do that. It'll be fun. And the question I put out was essentially, if it is okay for Hollywood to recast once white movie characters as black, then why can't we recast black movie characters as white? Here's the video. I'll just play it for you. Take a listen. All right, genuine question. If it is okay for Hollywood to recast a historically white movie character as black, then is it okay to recast a black character as white? Can Black Panther be played by Ryan Gosling? No? Why not? I'm still yet to hear an answer to that question that is actually logically coherent and doesn't hinge on straight up bias against white people, which is what it's really about. Because some people would say, oh, but that would be cultural appropriation to recast an African as a European. Okay, fine, but what about the reverse? Or they may cry, we need equal and accurate representation. But first of all, it's not accurate to recast a European folktale, for instance, as not European. So what actually is the reason that they're doing this? Can anyone answer that? Now, if you listen to my longer video on that, I actually answer my own question. It's obviously kind of rhetorical. But basically what I said is that the reason Hollywood does this is there is an agenda to perpetuate essentially racism against white people. That's what it is. That's why there's all these double standards. It is definitionally anti-white bias. And I know that's a controversial word even on the right to use, but that's absolutely what this is, right? That's why they do this whole humiliation ritual of actively replacing once white characters from old movies instead of just making new movies about minority stories, right? Because you think about it, if this were really about equal and accurate representation, if minorities really have all of this rich history and culture that supposedly white people just don't know about, then why not tell those stories? Why not make original movies about these things? Why instead do you have to take European fairy tales, right? The Little Mermaid is a European fairy tale centered around Atlantis, which is an old, European folk myth, and just lazily turn them into a black mermaid or something like that. Well, as I said in the longer video, I think this is because they need and want essentially a humiliation ritual against white people. See what I'm saying? So if that's the case, it's not enough for them to just make new movies about minorities, because that wouldn't be as obvious enough as a message. Sure, some would notice it, but I think genuinely most people would look at something like that and not have any degree of a particular problem about, with that. And so, in my opinion, this butchering of old characters is necessary to actively signal to the masses, hey, white people bad, right? You cannot socially engineer the culture they want to engineer, which is actively for, white kids to be hated by their peers and, all that type of stuff, without in some way being very direct about this. And that's why it's not enough to just, make a movie about a black character, to even make Black Panther. So anyways, that's the real answer to my question in the beginning. But anyways, getting back to this, I want to respond to some of the absolutely idiotic responses made by liberals, and honestly, even some conservatives on this video, quite sadly, okay? So, all of the people out there who are trying to tell me, no, it's not about anti-white bias, or no, there's no double standard here, you're wrong, da-da-da, cope. So here we go, let's get into this chat, shall it be fun? The most common response I got, I probably got this, I kid you not, hundreds of times, and so I'm going to respond to this once, but you could duplicate this comment, put it everywhere. It goes along the lines of, well, because Little Mermaid is a mermaid, your example is invalid. So, who cares, right? Little Mermaid's a mermaid. But they told me that Black Panther has to be black because his whole story revolves around him being from Africa. Got that? Which, of course, again, totally ignores the fact that Little Mermaid is from a European fairy tale. Okay, I believe it's Nordic in origin. It's a story based around white people. It involves Atlantis, which is, again, a European folktale, right? But again, hundreds of comments like this. Let's read one here. Mermaids are mythical creatures. There's no real standard for skin color. Mermaids can have green skin, for instance. The standard can be in the essence of the creature being portrayed, and while, yes, the original story is European and written with a Western worldview, okay, well then there you go. That's exactly my point. The story is European and written with a Western worldview. Okay, but fine. Ariel doesn't have to be bound to being a white mermaid. Okay, well, all right, but let's see the reverse logic here. As for Black Panther, King T'Challa is bound by his culture. He's a fictional character, but not a mythical creature. I mean, this comment is coping in of itself. First of all, Black Panther, I'm sorry, more or less, yes, is a mythical creature. I mean, you want to say, oh, well, technically in the movie, he doesn't have superpowers. He just has a fancy suit. He's like Batman. I mean, okay, but are we really splitting hairs at this point? He's a superhero. And more importantly, guess what? Wakanda is a totally mythical place. Newsflash, Wakanda is not real. Not much different from, say, I don't know, Narnia or Atlantis, right? So again, my question still stands after reading this comment. what morally consistent standard mandates that Black Panther be black, that mandates that Black Panther be black, but The Little Mermaid, again, a European fairy tale, that standard does not apply. You may say, oh, Wakanda is set in Africa, but guess what Wakanda is? It's a made-up fictional country, much like, guess what? Atlantis, a made-up, European civilization, or at least so the myths say, right? Atlantis is a historically fictional land believed in by Europeans, right? Believed to be a lost European civilization. So if you can turn this whole mermaid story black, why can't Wakanda be white? I don't really understand that. What's actually the difference? Is there actually a difference? Well, there really isn't, right? It's just pure cope. But even if you want to run with the excuse, well, but Vince, Little Mermaid is fictional, so who cares? Why are you even making a big deal out of this? Okay, but once again, I will say, fine, maybe that's true. Little Mermaid is fictional. You know what else is fictional? Black Panther. Black Panther is also fictional. So there's really no standard here that you're explaining that actually justifies one, but not the other. Except just saying you're biased against white people, which I would, if you're going to say that openly, at least you're saying it openly, right? But, okay, if you're going to use that excuse, you're going to say you can't use the excuse of The Little Mermaid because it's fictional. Again, that is contradictory because Black Panther is fictional, but fine. Let's talk historical. Let's use some other examples. Here's one that comes to mind. Hamilton the musical. Hamilton is one of the most famous Broadway plays in history. It is beloved by annoying liberal high school history teachers everywhere. Now, Hamilton basically turns all of the founding fathers brown or black. And this is kind of a famous aspect of the Hamilton musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda plays Alexander Hamilton. He's a Hispanic guy. But even if you want to say, okay, A, he wrote the play. B, you can kind of convince me maybe he's white passing. Okay, fine. But Aaron Burr and George Washington, both of who you're seeing on the screen, are just straight up black guys. They're just like dark black guys, okay? What's historically accurate about that? What's representative about that? So again, using this example, you literally cannot say that Black Panther can't be white because the fictional movie is about Africans, but apparently the founding fathers can be black? How does that make any sense? So you're looking at this fictional African character in a country that doesn't exist and saying, that can't be a black, that black character cannot be white. But the founding fathers, who were real people, right? This is a real portrayal of George Washington, white guy, Alexander Hamilton, white guy, Aaron Burr, white guy. We can turn those black, but it's not because there's a double standard. Okay, interesting. Again, what is the coherent excuse for why one is okay but the other's not okay? Because you don't have the excuse at this point of a mermaid anymore, do you? Because you're taking an actual historical story about Europeans that, in many ways, I would argue, necessitates that they be Europeans, and you're just changing the race there. And, you say that's okay. You think it's okay to turn actual historical white British colonists into black people, but according to you, it's not okay to turn a totally fictional story, written by white people, by the way, with black characters into white characters? Again, why? Make it make sense. Well, in defense, and let's get into some more of these comments, this one guy here at least tried to do it, so props to him for trying to answer at least the Hamilton conundrum. He says, and I quote, "Characters whose plot isn't driven by the race, they are..." Hold on. "Characters whose plot isn't driven by the race, they can be whatever color they are. Black Panther is not one of those characters, as most black characters in popular franchises are made black for a reason." So I think if you dissect all the word salad there and, misspelling, I think what he's trying to say again is, well, it's because Black Panther, part of his character is being a black guy. Again, okay, fine. But, again, would that not apply to the colonists, to the founding fathers? Anyways, someone replies, my thoughts exactly. Hamilton? Right, what about Hamilton? And this guy replies, Hamilton is historical fiction. Dead emoji. So he thinks like he got us there. It's historical fiction. My brain. Okay, I get it. Yeah, Hamilton is historical fiction. It's kind of a reportrayal of, the founding fathers. But what do you think Black Panther is, you absolute doorknob? Black Panther, guess what, is also fiction, okay? Except unlike Hamilton, it's not even historical fiction. Because when you create historical fiction, after all, I don't even know if this constitutes historical fiction because it's an autobiography of Alexander Hamilton and all the founding fathers, all real characters. There needs to be some bounds of it being semi-accurate in nature, right? So, and that does not apply to Black Panther. So if you can just change the races because it's fiction, even though it's historical fiction and these are real people and you're just changing them into minorities, again, let me say it again, why can't the Wakandans be white? Why can't they? Why can't Black Panther be white? Oh, for the millionth time. Because the story is based on them being African. Black Panther is based on them being African, right? Black Panther. Okay, well, fine, fair enough, but I think the story of the American Revolution is pretty freaking based on the main characters being European colonists and on the other side being European royalists of the British Empire. So, I think that's pretty central to the story too. So once again, what is the actual difference? You are all incoherent. None of your replies or excuses actually make any sense. Again, hundreds of times, the same stupid comment, oh, because Black Panther is supposed to be black, that's part of the story. Yet that has not stopped show business for any white characters that are supposed to be actual Europeans from Europe. And even outside of Europeans. I mean, Netflix recently, did you hear they're recasting Cleopatra as black? Okay, Cleopatra, who was not black, I believe. I don't even think she was Egyptian. I believe she was like Greek in heritage. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. But, isn't Cleopatra's lineage somewhat relevant? Why is this all, that doesn't matter, but, it is absolutely necessary that Black Panther be black. It sounds like you're all idiots, and it sounds like you're coping, and it sounds like none of your arguments make any sense. And then, of course, outside of the semi-intelligent or seemingly intelligent arguments, we get a lot like these. Number one, are you white? Are you even white? Why do you care? I get this all the time, right? Why do you stick up for, why do you speak out against open discrimination against white people? Why do you think it's not a big deal? You're not white. Actually, I am part white, but I get it. Not white passing, fine. I care about this stuff, guys. I care because there's an agenda to demonize white people, okay? Because it's not right. I speak out against it because it is wrong. It really is that simple. And frankly, if this were in any other situation, you guys are the same people demanding that all of the other races need to be allies of this racial struggle. Hey, be an ally. So, if you can be an ally, then I can absolutely care about what is actually happening in my country and happening to people within my country. So, there's that. All right, here's another one, and this is what I was talking about with some of the conservative quote-unquote objections to me pointing this out. This person says, so over this argument, who cares if they cast a black girl in Little Mermaid? Much bigger things to worry about than something stupid that Disney did. We as conservatives must let this argument go. It sounds racist to care. All right. So first of all, I reject like every premise of this. I reject the premise that what Disney does not matter. I hear conservatives say this all the time. Why do you care so much about the woke Disney movie? If you don't like the movie, don't watch it. If you don't like that, the Proud Family is openly teaching people little kids to hate white people, don't watch the movie. Don't watch the show. Do you think listen, do you think I personally care about Disney movies or shows? I'm 20 years old. I don't watch that stuff. But no, I care because Disney is the largest production company out there for little kids. Millions of kids, whether or not that's you, whether or not that's your children, millions of kids out there do watch this stuff. And even if that's not you or your kids or my kids, believe it or not, it does impact us all. Why? Because culture actually impacts us all. I know that we live in this very self-centered society, and conservatives very often tell themselves, oh, live and let live, don't worry about it, it'll all be okay. But, this just is not true. These are the kids who you're one day going to have to share a country with. These are the kids who are one day going to vote and, ultimately be making the political decisions of this country. It is pretty relevant to keep an eye on the things they are being taught, and especially the things that they're being shown in media from a very young age, because we know the psychological impact of that. I am so tired of this ridiculous right-wing excuse that people keep throwing at me. Oh, well, who cares, bro? Just don't watch it. Why do you keep talking about Disney? I don't want to hear about it. We care because I don't know about you, again, but I consider myself patriotic. How about that? How about the fact that it's the patriotic thing to do to actually care about something like the woke Disney movies, because it impacts our nation's future. Why? Because again, even if I'm not watching it, I just choose not to watch that stuff. A lot of kids are. Those kids are your countrymen. Those kids are your fellow Americans. There's nothing patriotic about just sitting off in a bubble and just saying that, you just do have no care, political, cultural, social, or personal, about anything going on around you. That is not patriotic. That is not altruistic. That is not noble. There's nothing noble about that. So, it is of importance. It does matter, and I'm tired of pretending like it doesn't. And second of all, she says this: we as conservatives must let this argument go. It sounds racist to care. It sounds racist to care. Really? So, first of all, it's not racist, apparently, what they are doing. A deliberate agenda to, again, demonize and humiliate white people, not just in movies, but in commercials, television. That's not racist. Apparently, that in itself is not racist. But what is racist is us asking why they do it, right? That, quote-unquote, sounds racist. Apparently so. And then secondly, what kind of moral standard is this for the right? So we cannot speak up about anything that might cause us to be perceived as racist. What kind of standard is that? If that's the case, we might as well shut down the entire movement, because we know that anything we do that is remotely right-wing, the other side always is going to label racist or sexist or some type of name. And I'm not saying that optics don't matter. I'm not saying that strategy doesn't matter, obviously. But are we seriously going to form our entire political strategy on don't get called stupid names by the other side? If that were the case, that would require us to shut down our stance on virtually every single political issue. So no, that's silly. But there you have it. I think we should make this like a weekly series. Every time I put out a video that I know is going to get stupid comments that we can respond to, we should do it. But yeah, there you have it. There was my little spat regarding the Hollywood, my basic question on Hollywood. Again, what does this ultimately always in the end go back to? Okay, the reason there's a double standard, they can't explain it in any other way other than there's a bias against white people. White people have to abide by different rules, anti-white bias, if you want to call it that. So anyways, guys, that is the liberal comments segment of the show. We will move on here to our other stories in a second, but first let me check out the super chats. And again, guys, I'm gonna be reading these super chats in between these segments, so if you want to support the show, you have a question or comment that you want read and answered, feel free to send it in via the super chats here on YouTube or on Streamlabs. But Zachary for $5, thank you very much, says, I'm only going to be on for half an hour. My congresswoman's hosting a town hall, and I thought, why not? Hey, well, there you go, Zachary. We love to see it. Zachary's been in this live chat for, I don't know how long, a couple months now. And, already immediately within a span, I'm not going to take personal credit for it. I'm just glad he's, more involved in the movement and stuff. But now I've been seeing him in recent months. He says he's going to get involved in the local GOP. He's now going to a town hall with his local congresswoman. I mean, look, you love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see the community getting involved in real world politics and touching real world issues. So very epic. Thank you for the $5. God bless you, Zachary. And good luck at the town hall. I don't know the affiliation of your congresswoman, but grill her, ask her the hard-hitting questions. That's your responsibility. Have fun, man. God bless you. Miguel Zarita for $5, thank you very much, says, if black people want a power fantasy, why choose Cleopatra and not Mansa Musa. There are historical black figures / places. Egypt is not one of them. Well, you also have to understand there is sort of this black supremacist conspiracy theory in certain circles that whatever, they disagree with that. But this absolutely is correct. And like I said in the segment before, what did I say? I said, if you want to tell black and brown stories, then tell black and brown stories. But why is it that they have to appropriate? Why is it that they have to take stories about so-and-so and just replace it, right? Replace it with a totally historically inaccurate or culturally inaccurate character. And again, like I will reiterate, like I will come back to, it's because it wouldn't be enough, would it? It would not be enough to simply just stand there and say, well, here's an alternative, here's a movie about something else. Because that's not in your face enough. People don't notice those things. You see what I'm saying? So thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. And it is true. It is true. Let me check if we got any donations over on Streamlabs. I don't believe we did. Okay, well then let's continue on here with the show. Again, if you want to support the show, and I'll read them in between the segments, feel free to send in a super chat. But here we go. On to our next story, outside of my personal little drama. We got some news for the day. Okay, we got some news for the day. So, a white Republican male city councilman in Indiana is, in an effort to, I think, troll the media and troll, the gender movement, he has come out as an Indian American transgender woman. Take a listen. Here's the story.
A councilman is coming out as transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash. Many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution. In a statement Webb gave to ITV, he says, quote, "It is unfortunate that I cannot simply be given the same space and respect to explore my identity that so many of those targeting me demand for themselves. It's possible I may change my mind down the road. The process of identity exploration is complex, and oftentimes at the end of our personal journey, we end right back where we started." Webb goes on to tell ITMate this is just his true, authentic self.
You know what? All right. Let me say it. I'll say it. This guy is a G, okay? This guy, ultimate Sigma male here, for once, I'll say this. Just say, Vince, you never respect identities, blah, blah, blah. I respect this guy's identity, okay? If he wants to be an Indian woman, sir, you are as Indian to me as Gandhi. You are actually, he is more Indian than Gandhi. He's more Indian than Gandhi. It's so true. In all seriousness, everyone always gets so mad when a Republican or conservative jokingly says, oh, well, I guess I'm transgender. I guess I'm transracial. But what is the actual difference? Genuine question. What is the actual difference between what this guy is doing and what Dylan Mulvaney is doing? Because I know what they're going to say. Oh, you're doing this in a performative way. You're just doing this as sort of a stunt. It's not a genuine transition of gender, which to that I would say. But anyways, if that's the case, then what is Dylan Mulvaney doing? Dylan Mulvaney, as much as everyone is now, I think, legally forced essentially to respect his gender identity, Dylan Mulvaney is not even really acting like a woman. He is actually acting like a caricature of a prepubescent girl, which is strange and creepy and honestly kind of perverted, but I digress. So, genuine question, what is actually the difference here? If Dylan Mulvaney can be like, I'm a girl now, and that's actually what he sounds like, what's the issue here on the gender front? That he didn't change his appearance? He didn't change his appearance? Well, I thought femininity was subjective. How do you know he's not a lesbian? He might just be a lesbian. Lesbians wear men's clothing all the time, so don't judge, right? Or is it the fact that he changed races? I don't know. Well, in that case, let me ask the question. If you can change genders, quote unquote, then why can't you change race? Why is gender, which I would argue is a way more thing that you're tangibly physically born with. And I do think that I don't even know if race, quote unquote, is really a strong hardline concept, but ethnicity, sure, right? But even then, right, it's not as locked in or kind of objective, quote unquote, as gender. So why is gender so easy to change, but you can't identify as a different race? I mean, genuine question. Maybe he feels like an Indian woman. Who are you to say? Absolute bigots. And I know I'm kind of just like being tongue-in-cheek here, but it is kind of an interesting question as to why transracialism it cannot be a thing or is not a thing. But like when you actually break it down, I know we shouldn't take these people in good faith, but you know, it is something to consider. It is kind of a true point. I don't know, but anyways, again, I support this guy. Okay, this guy is a gangster. Okay, this guy. As Indian a woman as I have ever seen. Okay, this guy right here. It's so true. It's so true. All right. Well, before we go into super chats, let's do one final story, and then that should leave us about 10 minutes here left on the show. So send them in now if you want them in the backlog, in the queue. I know it's been a slow news day today, and I haven't had the most time to even prepare the show because exams and stuff tomorrow. I figured this would be a chance to kind of just talk about some random things that have been on my mind lately, and you guys seem to like those segments. And so I had a few thoughts regarding specifically young men and young right-wing men and how we spend our time. And let me just kind of get right into this. It's kind of answering the age-old question that I got on every single Q&A on Instagram and stuff. It's like, Vince, you're a young guy. Do you game? Are you into video games? Are you into gaming? Do you think gaming is cool? And I think there are some things I have to say about this that are productive and kind of add to the conversation and have some food for thought. So let's just talk about it. Okay. Is VinceDao into video games? Is he into gaming? I will say yes and no. Okay. And let me kind of get into this take. I know I'm going to make people mad. I'm going to make some people mad, but let me just say it very bluntly and kind of explain why it is the case. Video games, folks, video games are a waste of your time. They are. They're stupid. They're a waste of time. In most cases, they are not adding anything to your life. And I know, unsubscribe, I'm mad at you, I'm a gamer. I know that there is a large subset of right-wing culture that is super into gaming, right? The edgy-based gamer boys. I get it. I know they're going to flip out at this. They already call me cringe and stuff all the time because I don't really play that many video games. Vince, why don't you play Call of Duty? That's cringe. I don't know, because I don't play that, right? Bro, you're so cringe. You're not a gamer. Like, you're not a based incel gamer freak like me. Yeah, no. The answer is no. And like I said, and I will reiterate, and I know there's might not be too many people in this specific right-wing space saying this. Yes, video games actually are a stupid waste of time. They are. Now, here's my thing. I'm not particularly here to moralize on anyone about that, okay? I'm not one of these like ridiculous red pill guys or ridiculous trad guys who's going to be like, you play video games? You mean to tell me you're not working out 18 hours a day and building civilization 19 hours a day? That's cringe. You're wasting your life. I'm not saying that. I'm not being that guy, okay? I will admit I'm someone who plays video games here and then. I obviously play them on stream sometimes because it's content. And so, I'm not here to bash anyone who plays games or likes certain games. We all have ways in which we waste our time. We all have things we do for leisure. And so, I waste time, you waste time, we all waste time. I'm not here to go crazy about, duh, you play games. Why aren't you reading a million books and being a schizo lifter or doing that or chopping down trees? I'm not here to say that. Okay, that's ridiculous. That's a LARP. That's stupid. All I'm simply asking is for the gamer community to recognize, right, that what they are doing is stupid and a waste of time. Is that saying that you need to quit games altogether? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not demanding anyone do that. But I am saying that you need to understand as a young man that every single hour you waste on video games is an hour you could have spent bettering your life in some way, okay? Whether that is making money, learning something, getting better sleep, building a stronger body, getting closer to God, whatever it is, when you are playing video games, that is definitionally wasted time. Now, am I saying that you can never play games? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when you understand that this is the case, what I'm saying is that you should not make playing video games into an identity, okay? I actually don't think that spending 14 hours a day, even on the weekends, playing Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever stupid nonsense is a productive use of your life. It is not a productive use of your life. You are, by definition, wasting your life. And, you know, to many, my message here will seem intuitive. Yeah, no, duh, Vince. Everyone knows that. Isn't that like common sense? No, you know, you would be genuinely surprised how many teenagers and even right-wing teenagers out there make their entire identity essentially wasting their life playing video games on the couch. And how many of them are told or tell themselves that it is somehow, I don't know, based or something. You know, they're rebelling against the system by playing games for 14 hours a day, you know. They always have excuses. That's the thing. If we can just come together and acknowledge, yeah, it's kind of a waste of time. I waste time, you waste time, but let's acknowledge that and try not to waste too much of our time. You know, that's fine. That's all I'm basically trying to say. I'm not trying to be any like big time moralist on this question, but there are just always those excuses, right? Oh no, playing games is good for you. It's developing your mind. You're learning something. You know, in most cases, that's not true, okay? Unless you're playing chess or something along the lines of that, some type of IQ improving game. No, you aren't. You're just twiddling your thumbs, okay? And the suggestion that you are somehow rebelling against any type of new world order by being a gamer, bro, that is just absolutely idiotic. That is one of the greatest copes I have ever heard. You are basically celebrating the fact that you do nothing, you have no drive, you waste your life sitting on a couch, sitting inside, eating junk food, being antisocial, right? That's the other thing about terminally online gamers. You know, your only friendships are parasocial relationships with other gamers who are just as much of losers as you. Sorry, but it's true. And you've somehow convinced yourself that all of this is based in red pill because, I don't know, you're saying edgy things in the voice chat. Okay. Because it's not like the entire system wants to lock you in a pod and pollute your brain with nonsense distractions, right? It's not like the system wants to do that. That's not exactly the lifestyle that they want you to live. Do you see what I'm trying to get at here? What I'm trying to get at, again, is not cancel all video games. What I'm trying to get at is that, you know, I think it is important to at least recognize on the gamer question, whatever you want to call it, they are a waste of your time. You probably should limit your time on them and start taking your actual life seriously. And, you know, say what you will, I understand that the gamers always get mad when I remotely counter-signal this practice of being a gamer, but, you know, let's compare lives in 10 years. And I'm not just saying me personally, just all the people who said, okay, well, I'll put down the video games here and then, versus the people who are like, let's see where we are. Let's see who's making more money. Let's see who has a family and who doesn't. Let's see who is just generally better off in all regards. Okay, just a thing. And, you know, let me say this to people who maybe think, oh, you just don't get it. You just don't understand gamers or whatever. I mean, it is true. I did not grow up ever being this big time terminal gamer, but I will say I am someone personally who will admit I wasted a lot of time in 2022, okay? Whether it was sometimes playing games, watching YouTube, or just generally being a lazy degenerate. And you know what? In retrospect, now that I don't live my life like that anymore, I realize as easy as it was back then, and as many excuses I made for it, let me just be frank, it was not a healthy life. It was not a healthy life back then. I was not maximizing my potential. I was not putting my agency to good use. And frankly, I don't think that was honorable to God. I don't think so. I don't think God puts us on this earth for us to sit around and do nothing. I think he wants to see his creations build things and do things. And so, you know, the Bible says that too. The Bible says that we are sanctified by hard work. And so, you know, outside of this stream, I will say this now, outside of the stream nowadays, which I would argue, you know, playing games on stream is business. It generates revenue. It's part of the brand, right? I probably have touched video games, say, once this entire year. And You know, that was not the case in 2022. And there's kind of a reason why that's the case. And the reason is that, frankly, and a lot of you dudes out there that eventually get over your gamer phase or grow up or whatever it is, when you will realize that when you start taking your life more seriously, which I have done this year, you know, I take business seriously, I take this stuff seriously, you will start to realize how much of a stupid waste of time a lot of that stuff is. Like, genuinely. You're just gonna realize you just don't, when you actually take life seriously, you don't have the time for that lifestyle, and you don't really have time for the type of friends who live that lifestyle, okay? And, you know, I don't know. I think at some point, a lot of you gamers over the age of like 15 are going to have to grow up. The question is when, you know? Because I think there's a certain point in life where it is no longer acceptable to just play like Call of Duty for 10 hours a day and just stay up all night playing and, you know, eating. You know, maybe when you're a teenager, there's something about that you could argue is normal. I would still argue it's not healthy. And if you want to look back in a conservative way to the way things used to be, those are the type of kids who, you know, as cool as you think you are, those are the type of kids historically that would have gotten bullied, and honestly for good reason. But, you know, just in general, there's a point where we all have to grow up. There's a lot of young men out there that don't take their lives seriously. They don't really have a serious drive or purpose in life. And I will acknowledge, again, that used to be me. I was in that position. And that's why I'm kind of giving this advice now that, you know, I'm not here to totally be like, you have to freaking cut out all video games and never do anything fun ever. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I think a lot of you young dudes out there have to realize, am I in general making good use of my time? Are you? And I think that's a question you have to answer. That's a question I still improve on. I still waste a lot of time, but, you know, I'm genuinely trying to give some advice here that might help someone, might help a young dude out there. Okay, it's just, I'm trying my best here. And you will find, if you really do an autopsy of your life, whatever the word is, you will find very often that is not the case, right? And I'm not saying you can never play video games again, but I am saying that when you will realize that when you start to take life seriously and you start to pursue things in life that are serious, and, you know, you will realize just how little time you have for video games. And that's my fundamental answer as to why I'm not a gamer, okay? I'm not really making up any nonsense about they cause school shootings, they do this, they do that. I'm not doing any of that. All I'm saying is, if you take life seriously, which you should, that's what God put you on this earth to do, in among other things, then why waste so much time? But anyways, guys, that wraps up these stories for tonight. So we will do about 20 minutes of super chats, 18 minutes to be exact, and I will call it a night. So the super chats are open. If you have questions, comments, or I guess questions or comments are the only two things that you want read and answered on the stream, feel free to send them in via the super chats or the donate link over on the pinned comment on the chat. So let's do this. It'll be fun. Q&A time. Very epic. Again, you got questions or comments that you want read and answered, feel free to send them in via the super chats. I know I missed the Streamlabs donation earlier from $1 for $1, so here we go. That's my bad, man. Here we go. All right. We got Joanna. Please read my super chats for the new people. Joanna is my secretary who reads the Streamlabs super chats. And you might say, Vince, what are you talking about? That's clearly an AI voice. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. That is my real secretary. She's not a feminist. All right, here we go.
$4 donated $5. What's up, Vinny the Kid? Tomorrow I take my pre-solo check flight. I absolutely greased all the landings today, ? Airplane, thoughts on bill that passed in the Texas Senate to ban foreign citizens from buying farmland?
Why it did not read the rest of the chat. I don't know what that was about. Okay, but the rest of the chat. Joanna, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to read the rest of the chat. Come on. I need you to do better, dear. I need you to do better. Okay, the rest of it says, thoughts on the bill that passed in Texas to ban foreign citizens from buying farmland. Bird is the word. White people. So true. Okay. So, first of all, I will say $1 for $1. Congratulations on you making progress in flying, okay? All right, dollar for dollar, he's becoming a pilot. So thank you for the $5. God bless you. Good luck tomorrow on your pre-solo check flight. And thoughts on the bill that passed in Texas to ban foreign citizens from buying farmland? I absolutely agree. Yeah, foreign citizens should not be allowed to. I don't really think they should be allowed to buy any property in this country. Maybe that's a hot take, right? Because I mean, I get it, work, whatever, tourist renting, I think is okay, but I think we have this issue in the real estate market where big foreign investors, some Middle Eastern, some Chinese, you wonder why, the housing market's so screwed up. Some of it's and the land market, some of it's Bill Gates, some of it's BlackRock, some of it also is just these foreign investors, right? These very wealthy people overseas come to the U.S. market. They don't even take out a mortgage. They just say down payment. Here's the money for the house. I own the house now. You can't compete with that as a middle-class American. And so, I think that should also apply to real estate, but I think farmland is a good start. Yeah, foreign entities should not own farmland. And so I hope that bill passes. Thank you very much, dollar for dollar. And let's get over here to the YouTube chats, ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube super chats. Okay, let's take a look here. Lily B for $5, thank you very much, says Owen mocks liberals with their own logic and Dylan Mulvaney mocks half the population. It's so true. Thank you for the $5, Lily B. Thank you for the $5. God bless you. And it is very real. It is very real. Dylan Mulvaney does mock half the population. But you know what? You know what, though? I think, honestly, and I've said this before, the truly correct take is not even that he's making fun of women. It's that he's literally LARPing and acting as a prepubescent girl. That's really what he is. He's acting like an 8-year-old girl. When you look at Dylan Mulvaney, that is the caricature being played, is literally an 8-year-old girl. And so, because grown adult women don't act like that. And so that's another thing I think that needs to be brought up and kind of, question there. What's going on there? What's going on there? And clearly, in some regards, it seems like he likes that, gets off on that. I don't know, but that is also true. Thank you for the $5, Lily B. And let's get the stream now to 150 likes, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 102. Let's get those likes up. Christopher for $5, thank you very much, says, I kind of agree. I used to be a big gamer as a teenager, but I don't often play as I used to. I would argue it is natural for some. Thank you for the $5, Christopher. No, I think the reason why thank you, God bless you. I think the reason why it seems natural for some is that I think, to some degree it is normal for a teenage boy to play video games and stuff like that. It's kind of a teenage boy thing to do. It's all good. It's fine. I think the reason it seems natural is because in America, we have this issue of prolonged adolescence. You know what I mean? People never grow up. Kids never grow up. And part of this is systematic. Hey, you stay in school till you're 26. And so when are you ever going to truly feel like an adult, right? So there's kind of things to consider like that. But I think that's really the fundamental issue, is that these people aren't growing up these days. People don't outgrow things anymore. We have a society of overgrown children, and that's why there's so many grown men in their 30s still just playing the same video games and just twiddling their thumbs. Enclave Nationalist for $2 says, opinion on the Wii. The Wii was a very underrated console. Okay, I am pro Wii. Not for 20-year-olds or whatever, but I think the good thing about the Wii is it was a family console, right? And so there's sort of just this fun side of, mom and dad with their kids interaction type of fun happening. I think the Wii, of all, consoles out there, I know the graphics suck. It's not the best. If you're going to play an actual game, you don't want to play on the Wii. But I think in concept, there is something inherently right-wing and pro-family about the Wii. And so I would argue that Wii games and playing Wii games with kids, right, your kids, I don't think that's obviously the same as just being a single loner freak and just playing, Modern Warfare. Dollar for $2 says, thoughts on waiting tables. I don't know what that means. Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. I don't know what that means. What do you mean, my thoughts on waiting tables? What kind of waiting tables? What kind of waiting tables? I'm not exactly sure. Homer for 20,000, whatever that is. 20,000 Ds? What are those? Is that... Oh, I forget. He's Vietnamese, right? I should know. Hey, that's your homeland. Why you don't know? I should know. I should know. Thank you for the 20,000, says, call those woke leftists as black supremacists. It's so true. It's so true, Homer. So true. My homie Homer. Real and true. Again, if you want to support the show tonight, feel free to send in super chats, and I'm reading them right now. We'll make sure we didn't get anything over on Streamlabs, which I don't think we did. Joanna, did we get anything? What is this? I think this is the same one. Yeah, it's the same one.
Home 2763 donated 20,000 through Super Chat. Call those woke leftists as black supremacists.
Oh, Joanna, it's 20,000, okay? Can you read? Are you literate? Come on. She has to do a better job. She really has to do a better job. She didn't even finish reading one of the super chats today. And, on top of that, she's 20,000. What am I paying this AI secretary to do? What am I paying this AI secretary to do? I have no idea. Chat. Bro, waiting tables? Come on. What do you mean? What do you mean by waiting tables? Like tables where you wait? The idea of acting... The acting of waiting on tables. Oh, working as a waiter. Well, you could say that. I think it's a respectable, first job hustle. I really do. There's something about working for tips and working for commission that I feel like teaches you a little bit more than just standing behind the cashier, standing behind the counter. Because I generally think the best kind of first jobs you can do are jobs relating. You really want to walk away from that job knowing how to sell things to people. And so that's why they often say, a lot of different rich people say that having a sales job is the best first job. But if you can't have a sales job, then the next best thing is something like waiting, because you kind of know, you have to, in a sense, learn how to sell, right? You have to kind of learn how to work for the tip, kind of, butter people up in that regard. And so I definitely think it is a noble profession. In many ways, it is a noble profession. Real and true. Mario is basically Vince, Italian and Far Eastern. Oh, that's true, huh? Because Mario is also Japanese. Yeah, that's real. That's real. If you move the country down like a few points on the latitude, that's basically me. That is me. That's literally me. So 20,000 is like $10, isn't it? I think it's like $5. It's actually, no, I think it's like $3. Okay. Whatever that is. Is it called, I think it's called dongs. The Vietnamese currency, I believe, is called dongs. Ordering a table online and waiting for it to... Yeah, you see, he could have just said being a waiter, okay? I didn't know what that meant. Everyone should wait tables for a week. It will make them be kinder to restaurant staff, respect people. Whoever is not nice to waiters? I cannot imagine the brutality of that. I'm always nice to waiters. Unless they're completely just like they're just not doing their job at all, which I don't think I've ever dealt with. Why would you not be nice to a waiter? It's not their fault. I'm a nice guy. Vince Dow is a very nice guy. Zachary for $5, thank you very much, says, a little wisdom that I even still need. If you spend too much of your life in a dream, the reality will become the cruelest nightmare. It is so true. Thank you for the $5, Zachary. Thank you for the 5. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Petition for Vince to be the live-action Mario. Could I be a Mario? I can't even do the voice. How do you do the voice? It's a me. Was that good? It's a me, Mario. Is that too high? It's a me. It's a me, Mario. No, that doesn't sound right. I gotta work on it. I can be Japanese Mario. That's what he sounds like in Japan. That's actually, "Ai, it's me, Mario. Ai." So true. Lily B for $5 says, "Would you play live action Mario if asked?" If I could get down this voice, thank you for the $5. If I get down this voice, yes, absolutely. Gotta get that down first. Okay, let's try this. "It's me." Is that good? Or is that terrible? Because I feel like it's higher than "It's me." There you go. I got it, right? "It's me, Mario." Oh. Boing. Boing. All right, I think I got this. I think I'm ready to be live action Mario. Okay. Do I have hops? Not really, but for my height, I can hop pretty well. So there's that. I don't know if I'm gonna chase, you know, a woman with Stockholm syndrome across the planet like that in 10 different games, though. That's the only issue here. Okay. You know. Like, yeah, I get it, chivalry and all that. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, you know, you gotta go through underground castles and lava and all that. I mean, at that point, you might just be better to call some international authorities, right? But, I mean, I get it. So true. Dollar for $2 says, "My favorite 3 pilots are Layla, Quagmire, and Han Solo." You're forgetting the guy. Dollar for dollar. Have you seen the movie Airplane? Even if Dollar for Dollar has not seen the movie Airplane, this is a movie you must watch. This is a classic piece of American cinema that you must watch. Dollar for Dollar. Okay, go check out sometime the movie Airplane. I'm telling you. Check out Airplane. Real and true. Dirty Mike for $2 says, "What are you studying, Vinny D? Undergrad?" Yeah, I'm an undergrad. I'm an undergrad business major. It's a total waste of time. Don't know why I'm here. Couldn't tell you, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Lol, if she had Stockholm, she'd be in love with Bowser, bro. Well, that's my conspiracy theory. I think she secretly is. You know, Mario doesn't witness what actually goes on. Like, he doesn't know. You see what I'm saying? He doesn't know what actually goes on, you know, when... And then you do all that for what? A kiss on the cheek? A kiss on the cheek. I'm just saying, I don't know if the whole value proposition in Mario is worth it. A kiss on a cheek isn't even like, all it is like a gratitude kiss. It's like, hey, thank you. You know, it's kind of, I don't know if I'd like to be a Mario, okay? The guy's kind of a simp when you think about it. You know? He kind of is. I'm not saying don't be chivalrous. I'm not taking that. I'm just saying. Homer for 50,000 Vietnamese dongs says, "I became a conservative thanks to a considerably YouTube webtoon that now is woke and has 3 non-binary characters. Half the fandom now has 3+ pronouns. Thank you for the 50,000 dongs, Homer." And sad, you hate to see it. Anyways, got about 2 minutes left on the stream, really more about 1 minute. So any last calls for super chats, send them in now. We're closing out the bar. If not, then I will end the stream in about a minute here, but I'll leave it open. "It's me, Mario." Dollar for dollar says, "I'm Luigi." I can see that. You are a Luigi. In fact, I was kind of thinking that to myself. In a world of Marios, be a Luigi. Why? What? Oh, actually, you're right. He's taller. I can't beat it. He's taller. He's arguably the cooler little brother. You ever played that game, Luigi's Mansion or whatever? I played that once, and it seemed cool. So, I actually liked Luigi more back growing up. Mario was basic, but Mario's also the main character. So, like, you also want to be the main character in your life, in my opinion. But each to their own. I was really a big fan of Yoshi for some reason. I don't know why. I liked Yoshi. That was kind of my character. So all right, anyways, if we got no more super chats, I will call it a night here. Thank you very much for watching. We will be live tomorrow night. The exams are during the day. We will be live here tomorrow night for the next episode of the Vince Dao Show. So be sure to join us again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, folks, Alpha moves only. Have a very good night. God bless you all. Alpha moves only. I already said that. And peace. Phineas and Ferb is based dollar for dollar. Real. It's a me, Mario. See, I can do it. All right, good night, guys.